pondered life's questions and wondered, what do the Simpsons eat? Well, today we're going to find out. So as you can probably tell by now, we're going to be trying different food from the Simpsons. In fact, we're going to be trying breakfast, lunch and dinner with a few added extras from the Simpsons universe. So not to spoil too much of the video and keep it a surprise, let's just start with the first thing we're going to make, which is breakfast, and we're going to be trying Homer's moon waffles.
Patented space age out of this world moon waffles.
So it's 2 cups of this stuff, which is about 15 Hot Wheels cars in volume. And we're going to follow that in with 2 tablespoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Put this bowl to the side for a minute and grab an even smaller bowl. This bowl we want to add 2 eggs. Into this small bowl, we're just going to whisk our eggs and milk together. Now carefully pour in your melted butter. And of course, since we're making moon waffles, we have to add our liquid smoke. And finally, now we combine all the ingredients. So let's pour our wet into our dry here. So while we're just waiting for our waffle iron to heat up here, let's spray with loads of cooking spray because we're going to have melted sugar in there in a minute. So we've got the green light, let's pour our candies in there. And now let's get a waffle mix on top of that. I'll just close it up and wait to see the magic happen. Let's see how it's progressing. So we can see the caramels have melted, but they're not burning yet, which is a good sign. Let's just leave it for a bit longer to cook. Right, so we're just about ready. I've got to say, this looks just as good as it does bad. So I'm quite excited to try this. So there is our moon waffle. I think we all know this wouldn't be complete without a stick of butter, so let's place that in there. And finally, we can't forget a toothpick to hold it all together. Right, so as you can see, it's completely falling apart, but let's try it anyway. The flavour on that is really good though, and I like the liquid smoke in there. Adds a little bit of depth to it. Yeah, I'm going to give that a solid like 8 out of 10. Right, so of course for our Simpsons lunch, we're going to be making the ribwich. So let's crack on with that now.
1 ribwich, please.
We'll put our chops to the side for the minute. We need to make our barbecue sauce first. All we need is ketchup, so we'll put about that much in. Molasses next. Worcestershire sauce, brown sugar, apple cider vinegar, pincheroni of salt. And finally finish off with garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, ground coriander, chili powder. Give it a mixeroni and let everything come together. Now we need to cut a chop into little cubes, so let's start with this. So now we want to put this into a mini processor like so. Follow that in with a couple tablespoons of water, a little pincheroni of salt, and a bit surprisingly, a little pincheroni of sugar. Adds a bit more flavour. And now blend! So we've just donned a pair of gloves, and now we're going to shape this into our ribwich shapes. And I like to use my 3 fingers to create those sort of lines that we see on it. So we're going to finish these off, and then we'll chuck this into the freezer for a couple hours. Let's get our ribwiches into the pan. Look at that. So these are the bottom of our ribwiches. We're going to start basting on our barbecue sauce. So just keep basting as we go until the sauce caramelizes on top. And let's cut this in half. Now let's carefully place it onto our bun. Like that. So there's our ribwich. I have to say, it smells and looks incredible. Let's just take a bite. This is a pretty basic sandwich, obviously based on the McRib, but it's seriously good. Flavours are really nice and balanced. Yeah, that's like an easy 7 out of 10 for me. Right, so on to dinner, and of course we're going to be making the isotope dog.
Brand new isotope dog supreme.
We've got jalapeno relish, we've got mesquite grilled onions, and finally we've got a mango salsa. So let's get cracking on those. So to begin with the jalapeno relish, we're just going to squash the garlic here. Get that into our blender. Chuck some coriander in there as well. And naturally at this point we're going to add our jalapenos, so let's get those in. Get some of the brine in there as well. Finally a pincheroni of salt and a pincheroni of sugar. And just give it a little blend. Let's just try it to make sure it's good. Perfect. Believe it or not, the first thing we need to do for our mango salsa is cut a mango, so let's do that. And then you just want to chop this into small pieces. And now to add to our mango, we're going to cut a red onion quite fine. And into this we're going to add a healthy amount of coriander again, so just chop this up nicely. Some lime juice in there. Add in some chili powder, of course a pincheroni of salt, and now let's just mix that all together. And for our final topping, we're just going to cut an onion, which will cook and will smoke with mesquite wood. Right, so let's get our onions on. And now we're going to smoke our onions with mesquite in there. We'll close it off and it should start smoking, hopefully. Right, so we're almost finished. We've got a bun here now and all of our condiments. We're just going to cook our hot dog and we'll come back and start assembling everything. We've got it's the jalapeno relish in the middle, so let's get that in there. We've got our onions on the one side. And finally, our mango salsa goes on the other end. Well, there's our isotope dog from The Simpsons. Let's get into this. So that was the mango side, which is absolutely, that's 10 out of 10. Let's try the onion side and then the jalapeno in the middle. Those onions, that wood smoke flavour coming through is super, super good. And finally, let's finish on our jalapeno relish in the middle. I've never made this before, but I've got to increase the rating. I think this is like 9.8 out of 10. This is almost perfect. And finally, for our bedtime snack, we're going to be making Ned's hot chocolate.
How about I fix you some cocoa?
I had a little think about this, and I came to the conclusion Ned would make something called French drinking chocolate, which I've made in a previous video quite recently, but it's absolutely delicious. So let's crack on with that now. To start, we're going to add some whole milk to a pan. And then we'll pour some heavy cream into that. Just a few teaspoons of powdered sugar as well to sweeten it up. Right, our milk and cream are ready. Let's pour it into our chopped chocolate and start melting it. Obviously, you've got to spill it everywhere, most importantly. So it should all start melting now. So we've finished cooking our hot cocoa. Let's pour it into a glass. Look at that. Naturally, we can't forget our whipped cream, so let's get some of that on top. The wafer goes in next. A little cream on top of that. Our mallow goes there. And let's hit it with our torch. Right, I can't wait to dig into this. Let's try Ned's hot cocoa. And let's try a marshmallow and wafer. So what's my rating for this hot cocoa? It's got to be an easy 8, 9 out of 10. Seriously rich, seriously good flavour with the chocolate coming through everything. And finally, I found this Homer donut I thought we'd try. I saw it at the shops and it looked exactly like, so we had to give it a little go. Let's have a taste test and see what it's like. There's strawberry icing on this one. It's quite sweet. The donut's quite good texture. Yeah, I'm going to give that a 6 out of 10. That's not too bad at all. Right, well, there we have it. 24 hours on Simpsons Food. I think we tried some interesting stuff there. I have to say my favourite today was probably the isotope dog. It is super, super good. Definitely worth recommend you trying yourself. As I've mentioned many times before, every day we're growing bit by bit, so make sure you subscribe to never miss the videos, and I'm posting regularly now, so check them out every day. Very cool. Yum, yum.